Welcome to the Judgment Free Zone. You've downloaded the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast, episode 48 for April 3rd, 2023.
Now, adjust the volume control so that the sound can be heard in all parts of the room.
Recorded live from the cornfields of Central Illinois, you're listening to the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast with Matt and Amy. Come and learn and share a journey with two former craft beer enthusiasts who went from daily drinkers to teetotalers and basically never lost their love for their life together.
Hey, a freak show!
Well, hello there, children. Welcome back to your weekly freak show that is the Alcohol Free Marriage Podcast. I am Matt, along with the always lovely and basically on time Coach Amy. How are you, my love?
Basically on time.
Not that we really had a time to be
I was going
here.
to say, I didn't know that.
I didn't have you scheduled specifically for a time to be here, so
I was going to say, if you went, 9:30, that's pretty good for me.
I basically just showed up and figured eventually you would find me.
I would wander in.
You would wander.
I would wander
That was
in.
my strategy.
Hello, honey. Are we ready to podcast?
Yes, we are. And children, thank you for joining us. This week we're going to talk about some sleep strategies in the pit. I'm going to teach me about the pit. Hopefully it
Getting
doesn't-
yourself out of the pit.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not in the pit. You know,
I hope that works.
Right.
I hope my notes make sense to me.
let alone you, or to me, let alone you. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, since you're here already, why don't you like, subscribe, leave a comment down there in those little comment boxes. That'd be really awesome. That'd be fantastic. And don't forget to sign up for the it'll start soon. Your alcohol-free spirit, right?
Yes.
Still time to sign up.
Still time to sign up. We start on the 10th. So a week from today's podcast.
Right.
And that's the official, week one, the pause. We do let people in that week, though, because we've had people who at the last minute are like, can I do it? Yes, we're going to get you in.
Get in at the pause.
But we would love it if you would join us now. This is the second go around. We're excited about it. We've got some people signed up. We've got some people who have participated previously who are coming back because they enjoyed it so much and they like that small group. And when I say it's a small group, it's a smaller group. It's not like being in one of those big
20, 30 group people.
Yeah. Or even in the larger alcohol groups that are out there. I mean, there's thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I know that can be very intimidating. So
Oh, this is a very personal, and this is the second
It
go
is.
around. So, good news, if you sign up for this time, you didn't have to go through the growing pains of learning from the first
oh
one.
my gosh. And
Most of
yeah.
the pain was on my side, but
there was some technical
learning
things.
some technical things the first time, just saying.
So that actually, some of those things were addressed immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you have all the content created, so it's a little easier
Yeah.
for the coaches this
Some
time,
of the
right?
content, but it's an ongoing, evolving process.
That is true. Yes, you do
And
learn
we're
and
wanting,
change and
we want to
tweak
make,
and,
we want to make things better. And
being a small group, you can tweak it for that group too if you need to.
yes, and we definitely can do that.
There you go.
Yes, and we're excited. Yay.
And if you don't feel like joining a group right now, you can always read a book. Ken Middleton's Bamboozled is coming out. You can listen to
Yes.
his interview on episode 35, but his book came out
Yesterday.
the
oh,
first.
Sorry,
April
April
1st.
Fool's Day.
it really-
Bamboozled.
But it really, which is ironic, but it really did come out, and you really can buy it.
Yes.
So it's out there. Check out Bamboozled by Ken Middleton, and check out the interview on episode 35.
Yep.
And what's this? I didn't even know we had this other thing, Amy. Our guide to 7 tips that helped us.
Yes, it's our alcohol-free.
Oh, 5 o'clock summer alcohol-free
Yes.
edition. Oh,
Yes. 7 tips that helped us. So, that's just a free resource. There's some tips in there that helped us get started. In there as well has some of our favorite podcasts, my favorite books. I'm not going to say your favorite books.
That'd be my favorite book.
But anyways, speaking of books, I'm going to deviate a little bit. Are you still doing your book study?
Atomic Habits, my book club.
Yeah, your book club.
My book club at work, yes. Me and the ladies. No, it's a mixed group. There's actually, I think, 100 of us doing it. So.
And how long is it? What's the time period of this? Is it just kind of an ongoing?
It's like 3 months. We do like 1 or 2 chapters a week. So it's
Okay.
like 3 months. So like two and a half.
That's
2.
cool.
Yeah. So I think we're done this week, maybe.
Really? What have you learned?
I've learned.
Well, you know what? That's another episode.
I was going to say, don't quit.
Tune in. We're coming.
And let's be honest, I didn't read the book. I listened to the book because I don't read a lot of books. So.
Okay, let's just also debunk that. That is still reading a book. I read books. I listen to books. You take in the information.
The knowledge.
And you don't enjoy sitting there with a book in front of you. Now, I would challenge you to try to read every day because there are things that happen in your brain, good things that happen. Good things, Matt, happen.
All right, there's your challenge, kids. Read every day.
Read
Rainbow?
5 to 10 pages and, multiply that out. That's like, I think it's over a book.
No, I love the look in your face right now when you're like, 5 to 10 pages, multiply that out. I can't.
I'm a comm major.
I love looking at your face and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I can't do that math.
You know what? I
like
have that written down somewhere. There's like a whole thing about, new things that you can do.
It's like 4 billion pages, I think. That was my math.
I'm going to get my calculator
But
out here.
365 days times 10 pages a day would be 3,650 pages.
I think that's like 10 books.
Depends on how many War and Peace or a leaflet I get.
Small books.
Small books. See, spot, run. There you go. I can do 5 or 10 of those pages. That's like a whole book a day if I do that. So.
Oh, please.
All right, Coach Amy. I know what my drink is of the week.
What's your drink of the week?
Coffee.
Yeah, but what kind?
This is our hazelnut coffee from Crafted. Right? It's hazelnut.
Oh my gosh, it's
whole
so
bean ground.
good. They actually asked me yesterday if I wanted them to grind it. Should I have? I said no. I said he likes to do that.
I wouldn't say
Keeps it fresher.
It does because you only grind the beans that you need.
But we went through it pretty fast.
Yeah,
so.
but I did in 2 sections, so I think it's worth doing it yourself if you can.
Okay, I didn't. I wasn't sure if I answered that. If it would have been me.
The answer was not technically correct that I like to do it. I just think it's increasing the freshness by doing it.
The freshness of the flavor.
As you do it. Which it is because there wasn't a ton of this left, so I had to top it off with some of the other stuff. I'm like, this other stuff, not as good. That stuff is really good, but it's also fresh and flavorful. So
if it would have been me, I would have had them grind it.
It was you and you didn't have them grind it.
No.
Oh, if you hadn't thought,
Matt wants to grind this. He wants it to be bougie fresh.
I really, really want those cool ones. You pour the beans in, it grinds it and makes it. But they're like $1,000. So I'm like, you know what? I don't need my coffee that bad.
Didn't your aunt have something like that?
I don't remember, but yeah, you gotta really get a coffee to spend $1,000 on a coffee pot.
I'm not into it that much.
No. What's your drink of the day? Same thing.
Well, I got coffee, but no. This kind of goes into one of the things that I've been doing, a habit that I've been doing this year.
Oh, yes.
The increasing your H2O throughout the day.
That's water to you and me, kids.
And what basically, as soon as I get out of bed, I drink my big Starbucks, 24 ounces, 24 ounces immediately.
It's Disney technically, but yes.
But what you need to do, like the next one I usually do, and not always, but I do put a little pinch of salt and some lime in it to increase the flavor, but also that sodium, it helps with, the absorption. It helps, with electrolytes and all of those things. I was doing the Himalayan salt until you were like, don't use this salt. And you showed me like a 30-second clip that said that it was bad or something.
Well, no, here's the problem, kids, and this is real. When you read the label on your own Himalayan sea salt, you'll realize, it's not totally BS. Most of it's not Himalayan salt. It's like pink salt from ours was not Himalayan at all. And there's like bad things like
yeah, they said lead and maybe asbestos or something.
It was weird.
I don't know.
But then when I read our label, I'm like, yeah, that's not what the Himalayas are. So
we've changed that, and I've gotten this information. There's a hydration challenge through, I think his name's Drew Pruitt. He has a podcast. We can link that in the show notes. Maybe I need to make a note of that.
I got it.
And but also just increasing your water every day. I try to drink 3 of those tall cups, so that's around 72 ounces a day or something like that. 70, I don't know.
Half your body weight in ounces.
So I think 3 of those for me works out really well.
Yeah. So if you weigh 100 pounds, 50 ounces, 200 pounds, 100 ounces.
Yeah. So I'm really trying to increase that, but and it does taste good when you do that. It actually helps you drink the water, My first one that I was kind of putting it in there the night before, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like doing that.
Right.
So usually that's my second. I think they really want you to do that with your first one, but I have mine all made up.
You have your own system.
And I have it drank before I even get down to the kitchen.
Wow. Amazing.
No,
No,
it's
but I
good
think
for
it's-
you.
I
And
think it's
you
funny-
used to drink. You are a good water drinker.
I'm pretty good. But I always think it's people like, oh, it's so hard to drink all that water. Be it, those of us who used to drink. It's like, yeah, but I'll sit there and drink 3 or 4 beers, and that's like, what, almost 50 ounces of liquid. It's like,
Well, I also look at it as there's like exercise. I get up every day. I try to exercise at least 5 times a week.
I am a weightlifter now, too, by the way.
I know. I know.
I went to the gym twice.
I know.
I'm a power lifter.
We've joined the gym.
Yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
Anyways, so I also look at that. I don't yes, there are certain types of exercise that I enjoy, but I've got it incorporated into a routine now. And so it's like brushing your teeth.
It's like an atomic habit.
Do you
Amy.
like brushing your teeth? I mean, really? Do you sit there and go, "Oh, I love brushing my
No,
teeth"?
but I don't like going to the dentist, so,
Exactly. So you brush your teeth. It's one of those habits that you're like, okay, I don't really particularly like this. It's just the same with water. I know water is good for me, so I'm going to do the habit. I am making myself do it. I'm like, okay, you know what? You
drink.
And I've got little water reminders that I often will ignore, but if
There's
I
an
can
app for that.
get
There's an app for that.
I
That's for
have
sure.
an app, it comes up, it dings at me.
Does it
all
work
this-
as well as your screen time thing did, where you just say, ignore screen time, keep letting me look at my screen? Because I know that works well for you. I have a screen time limit that I can ignore. I'm like, what the hell's the point? It's like
I quit. I quit on that. You know what? I do
it's like
put
locking
my,
somebody up
I
in
put
jail.
my
Saying,
phone
it's here,
down.
it's here, you're in jail, but here's the key in case
I
you
do
wanna get
put
out.
my phone down and I say, okay, no to the phone. I put it in the other room.
No, the phone. Well,
No
speaking of the
to the
phone,
phone.
the phone goes into our next one, Amy.
What is our next one? I'm
your
so
sleep-
confused.
Your sleep strategies. Hold on. Let me set it up.
Okay.
I have no problem sleeping. I go to bed, close my eyes, go to sleep. Sun comes up, I wake up, boom, done. No problem. Now I go to bed early because I'm old, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, even when you were even one of those people, I think you must just, when you did drink alcohol, you just were like in a coma
Well, yeah. It
for the
wasn't-
whole time.
It wasn't restorative sleep, but it was sleep.
No.
But
you
you've
were-
always woke up and different things.
Yeah, so-
not drinking totally helps.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that was your biggest
the big thing.
percentage
the bi-
improvement.
Yes, the big thing that improved, and I hate to say this because everybody goes, oh, you have improved sleep and it's wonderful and it's. Yeah, it didn't come that way for me. In fact, at the beginning, it actually got probably a little bit worse. The sleep that I was getting was so good. It was totally
Quality
restorative. Yeah, it
sleep.
was quality restorative sleep. And I learned that actually I could get a lot done on 5 hours of good sleep versus
8 hours. of
8
crap.
hours of awake and asleep and awake and all of that. So that came over time, probably really at about the 18-month mark of no alcohol. It really, like, there was a big shift in my sleeping.
Right.
Now, do I still have periods of time I wake up? Yeah, and have nights where I can't sleep.
But you're a woman
True.
of a certain age who has gone through some changes, and that causes hormonal things. It causes sleep challenges as well.
It does.
Like for example, in the middle of the winter when you're sleeping in like a t-shirt, your underwear, and a sheet, and I'm underneath my weighted blanket, the comforter, a hoodie, and pajama pants. So, I mean,
True.
right, we have different sleep styles.
Yes.
But you found some
so
things since
I
quit
have-
drinking.
Yes. So
And
in
this
the
experiments
last,
you
probably
did.
in the last, yes, an experiment again. You know, I think one thing was last fall, cutting back the sugar, which we need to readdress again. Thank you to the ice cream store that has reopened seasonally.
Seasonal ice cream people.
Dang you. But when I did that, I also noticed, sleep's getting better when I have lengthened the time between meals, like cutting off my eating at about 7:30 and not eating again until the next day, at least 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours is usually what I do. That really helped as well. But recently I've
The
decided.
newest things that have worked
Well, the newest things that have worked is I've started to take magnesium at night
before bed.
before bed.
Do you think you should take it earlier?
I don't.
Like maybe not so.
I don't know. You know,
But
and
anyway.
I can ask somebody. And also, I just want to preface: we are not doctors. We are not giving you medical advice. We are in no way.
This is Coach Amy's personal experience from her personal experiments.
This
so.
is what I've been doing. These are things that have helped. If you think that maybe you want to try it, that's on you. And please always reach out to your doctor before taking any type of medicine or herbal supplements or whatever. So I wanted to put that out there. But I've started to take a couple of magnesium. I don't even know how much it is, a couple tablets.
Well, there's different kinds of magnesium. I don't remember what kind that is.
I think I'm taking magnesium oxide.
Sure. I have no idea.
I that's what I've been taking. This seems to be working for me. I know that a lot of people will take Calm. I've thought about dabbling
Which
in
is
that
a different
again.
kind of magnesium, I think.
Yeah. But anyways, one of the things of taking magnesium, not only does it help you sleep, it also helps with your digestive system. I'll just leave it at that.
There you go.
So that's been one thing that I have incorporated in.
But I think too much magnesium can have opposite effects on the digestive system.
Yes, it can.
So careful
and
of
so
that.
this is what I'm doing.
Right.
I've thought about taking the Calm because I know you can take it as a drink and you can warm it up and have like a
I
nice
thought Calm was
little-
a chewy.
You
or a
can.
gummy.
There's all kinds of different.
okay.
There, you can do it as you can do it as a gummy. You can do it as a powder.
But I would say before you buy any of these like miracle elixirs, just read the label. Sometimes it's like, oh, okay, what has these two things that I can do myself and save money and mix it how I want.
And I will say the powder Calm, that was actually something that my doctor was like, you know what? You're having we recommend that you try this. So
Okay.
that's on my
So-
doctor that I see. And then
Coming back to the phone,
the phone,
you change the color.
because I use the phone for my alarm. I also listen at night. Sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, I put on very boring, lulling sounding podcasts.
Good content, just they talk very.
They do. They're very, you know,
NPR.
a lot of times they have great, British accents.
You're probably not going to sleep to us, guarantee it. Or maybe we are putting you to sleep.
I don't know.
Hey,
It could be.
good on
But
you.
so I do that. But what I did was, again, going back to the Drew Pruitt podcast, one of these sleep hacks that they came up with that he actually talked about was hijacking your phone. You know, everybody's like, oh, the blue light. Make sure you do the
Well,
blue
because
light.
iPhone does have the night shift or whatever. So
Yeah,
it
and you can
cuts
do
the-
that.
yeah.
So, and one of the recommendations is just keep that on all the time. I don't do that all the time. Usually about, I think it's 7 or 8 that kicks in.
I can't keep
But
track of all of your systems.
But when I go to bed now, I actually take all the blue out. It's just I have a red filter now, so my phone looks like it's the demon phone.
It looks like your Zero Dark 30 out there, the dark red like.
Yeah,
infrared,
so you put this on. I've got I just click the little button. It kicks everything to red. And the nice thing about that is if I do wake up and I want to check what time it is,
It's like literally night mode.
there's no jolting. And I've tried this, especially doing this in the morning when I first wake up. I'm like, okay, let's see this, because I have to now manually flip that over. And when I do that, it's like, oh my gosh, this is such a huge change.
I tried changing the lights on our bathroom floor to red, and you thought it looked too devilish. Because the same idea is like it's red and it doesn't like assault your eyes when it
I
kicks
think
on.
it just needs to be like a little.
It is low, yeah. But I
That
tried to do red,
helps.
and you said, "Oh, it looks like that devil's in there." I'm like, "Okay, devil's in the bathroom."
Yeah,
So
takes me back to some horror movies.
I
Thank
know.
you.
So you take your magnesium, you
I
change
do
your
that.
phone to this red
Change
color.
to the red filter. It's in, I think, in the accessibility or something.
Google it, kids.
Yeah, in the mode. I had to, and I actually set it up, and I actually set up the shortcut. Who says that old dogs can't learn new
she
tricks?
can learn.
I did. I learned, and I could never ever tell you how to do it. But so Google it.
All right, and your number 3, which I think is the biggest one.
Cutting, and again in this same episode, I'll have to find that episode so that we can link to
to it.
that. One of the things is I've always cut my caffeine consumption usually around noon. I always thought, okay, everybody's like, oh, if you're sensitive to caffeine, cut it, by noon. And I still would have difficulty sleeping and trying to figure it out. And again, going into experiment mode. And they were like, this particular, I think, doctor said, okay, the way you can tweak this, cut caffeine off at 10 a.m.
Oh, that was 10:30. 10 a.m.? 10:30.
10:30 is me. 10:30 is me.
Okay.
10:30.
I think some of it depends on what time you plan to go to bed.
Yes.
I mean,
And so I have done that, and I've done that in the last probably month. I think that's been the last month. And that has been the dramatic. I think this is like the number one thing for me, because we did a test, not on purpose, but when we went to St. Louis, last weekend,
yeah.
and I was dehydrated, and then I had tea.
Yeah,
and
caffeine in the afternoon. You didn't drink all of your water during the day.
Yes,
Yeah.
but having that tea in the afternoon, and I had 2 of them. Worst night's sleep I had had in months. And I'm like, okay, this is key. If it would have been green tea, it would have, I think, been a totally different thing.
Could have a lot less caffeine.
But I should have, honestly, in that point, I should have just had the root beer with the sugar. I would have been able to.
You wouldn't have had the caffeine at least, so.
So, but anyways,
There you go, Coach Amy's
that
sleep
is
hacks
thing.
for
So
you.
yeah, magnesium, changing my phone to the red mode, and then cutting the caffeine by 10:30. That, I mean, it's been huge this week. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm sleeping.
And then I say about most of these, like, if it
the
doesn't
last
work,
couple of weeks.
I mean, the magnesium might be different, but like, change your phone to red and change your drinking of your coffee. Like, it's easy to test and see if it works. If it doesn't work, go ahead, try something different.
And I would encourage anybody, when you're trying these things out, do it more than
One
night, a couple of days. Give it, like, I would say I've been doing the caffeine and the color consistently for the last probably couple of weeks, at least.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that
I would
has
say after the
been-
first week, you probably noticed that there was actually.
well,
a
and
benefit.
then the first week, and then we had the caffeine, and maybe it's been a little longer, but it definitely, like this morning I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, I mean, and I'm not waking up as much either.
Right.
So I think that's the big thing. Those chemicals, all those chemicals in your brain are trying to get back to homeostasis, and it takes time. And apparently for me, it's in the middle of the night when it decides to do a big chemical dump to wake me up.
When your homeostasis goes, woo.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So-
speaking of going, woo, Amy, how do I get out of this
Woo.
pit? I didn't even let you talk to me about this yesterday.
I know
I'm
I
like-
started to talk to you, and
No,
you're
it's
like,
like-
no.
I'm like, la, 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 la. I'm like, no, because we're gonna have the conversation that we want to have now. So what is this pit?
Well, this is something.
I don't want to get stuck in a pit.
Well, basically, PITS is an acronym, and it's to help you deal with overwhelm. And this is not anything that I have come up with, but this is something that Brendan Burchard, who is a motivational speaker, he has.
Does he live down by a river?
Several books. No, I'm pretty sure he has a couple homes. He lives by the ocean.
Oh,
You know, he's
gotcha.
one of probably the most positive speakers. We'll link to
We'll link to
his
him, too.
thing. And I actually, if you want, I subscribe to Growth. It's called the Growth Day app, which is it's his app, and it's awesome. There's learning there. You get this daily fire every morning. It has an area to journal, an area to plan, all of these different things. And I really have been doing this now this is year 2, and I love it. I
Okay.
love it.
So anyway, so
we're
Brandon,
gonna get to,
So I'm Brendan's pit.
and it's basically we're talking about overwhelm. Like, so many people come up and they're like, okay, I'm overwhelmed, and it's like, I can't do this because I'm so overwhelmed with the task ahead of me. Or, well, why haven't you done this? Well, I'm so overwhelmed. And we hear this a lot. I'm so overwhelmed by my kids' schedules, or I'm so overwhelmed by this. And when we get overwhelmed, what did we do?
Drink.
We would drink. That was our thing. But this is basically a way to get you out of overwhelm and get you into action.
So the pit of
So
overwhelm.
the pit. And so when you get stuck in this pit, you need to think of it as this acronym. So P is for plan. A lot of times you might feel overwhelmed, but why? Well, you don't have a plan.
Don't know where to start.
You don't know where to start. You don't know what I'm going to do. So you need to get a plan. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to create a plan. You don't have to. Here's the beautiful thing. You do not have to create a plan because we live on the planet Earth, and how many billions of people are here? Somebody else has been through the exact same thing that you've been through.
Right.
And there's a plan.
Right.
So if you're wanting to quit drinking, I'm going to tell you, there are so many books. If you're wanting to lose weight, if you're wanting to organize, I mean, come on, we can Marie Kondo anything now. We just pick some up and say, does this give us joy? So you can find a plan. You can get yourself a coach. You can go, you know, if you're having overwhelm about certain things, you know, go and see a therapist. You know, I'm not a huge proponent of Weight Watchers anymore, but
you did for years.
But I did for years. There is a plan available for you. If you're dealing with stress and anxiety, I would encourage you to look up Amen Clinics. Dr. Amen is amazing. He's a psychiatrist and he has so many different things. So you can plan it, you can find it, you can listen to podcasts. Here you go. You're listening to us. We're going to link to some other podcasts. So there are resources available that are already created for you.
And sometimes just either creating the plan makes you feel better, or knowing where to start, just like doing
where to
something.
Start. Or sit down and say, okay, what do I need to do right now? And just write a few things down.
Take that first step.
Just exactly. Get it out of your brain. Do a brain dump. Write it all down. Just get everything out of your head and then go through that list and prioritize.
So like when I'm trying to start a project, I'm looking at a blank piece of paper on the screen going, I don't even know what words to write.
I don't know what to start.
So you know what you do? You go to ChatGPT and you ask it what to write. And there you go.
That's another resource. I mean,
True.
I will tell you, when you're sitting here and you're wanting to create content, 5 tips for losing weight. Boom. Here it comes. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can... There's so many different things that you can do to create a plan. Yes, you can Google it. I'm telling you, if you don't know how to do something, go out and look it up on YouTube. How many times have you said, hey, I'm going to do that. I don't know how to do that. I'll look up a video.
The floor in this room is from
The floor in this room. So you can do it. Refurnishing furniture. I don't know how to do this. Faux. I think that doesn't always work out. Let me just say.
Here it is, toilet replacing. Because the little sidebar. YouTube is helpful, but when your situation doesn't match the video situation, you get lost quickly.
Yes.
Like when you take your toilet off the mounts and you have a problem, or it's not like what they have in their video. There's not like you ran into, it's like choose your own adventure. Oh, it is choose your own adventure. And my adventure didn't match the video. Then
we can link it to a plumber if you're local.
Or when you try and take a handle off of a faucet and it snaps off. Anyway, I don't plumb is the normal life story.
But I would like to say that, so there's a few other things with this P, plan out your day. What are 3 actions that you can do for today? So an example, so you have this, I want to do the floor. Okay, well, we got to plan this out. What are you going to do? You're going to go out, you're going to start researching, you're going to find a video that works with you, and then you're going to go buy the materials. And then what's the next step? You just keep going through those steps, and that's going to alleviate that overwhelm.
Well, and don't you think? Don't think you have to fix or get done or change whatever it is today. That's what always caught me. It's like, I hurry up and get done today and figure it out, and then you do it poorly. Do whatever it is poorly, or you don't get it done, or you
plan it out over time. Yeah. You know what? You want to lose 10 pounds. Don't think that I'm going to eat this for 5 days and I'm going to lose 10 pounds. No, you're not.
You ate ice cream all ice cream season. It's not going to come off in a week.
No, in fact, it's going to probably...
You'll get it off just in time for next ice cream season.
Exactly. So that is the P. Then the next letter is I, and that stands for identity. And so, when we're looking at overwhelm, a lot of the time that overwhelm is fear. It's this fear of imposter syndrome. You could also slash that I and make that, I think I'm an imposter. So basically what you have is your esteem does not match that desired goal or dream that you have. So an example is, for me, becoming a coach. I'm sitting there going, I'm going to become a coach. well, I don't know how to become a coach. So that imposter syndrome stuff, I start comparing myself to others. And what you really need to do is you need to identify with that future vision that you have for yourself. You have to start to visualize what you want.
I am. And don't have people like me.
It's not, no, that's kind of a manifestation thing.
Oh.
That's like a mantra, which I'm not saying mantras aren't good, because I do. I give myself a high five. I tell myself that I'm good. I say faith over fear in the morning. Those are all good things, but you have to actually visualize yourself doing it. So you have to sit down and go, okay, I'm going to be a coach. All right, well, I'm going to work through my plan. I'm going to sign up for a course. I'm going to work through that course. I'm going to create that plan. Oh, you know what? I'm not sure how to start my own business. Oh, I'm going to hire a business coach. I'm going to go through these different steps and start to visualize. I visualize myself working with that client. And when you do that, you have to visualize the good and the bad, because think of the runner. If you have somebody who's going to run a marathon, when they're doing their visualization, they're not just focusing on that finish line. What they're focusing on is the whole process. Okay.
Each mile.
Yep. Or every day when I'm training, okay, right. Oh, it might rain. Oh, I'm going to be running in the rain. This is not going to be fun. And visualizing, going, my shoes are really wet. This is horrible, but I keep going. I keep going through all that process. So really, really buying into and start to think of yourself as that. I had to start to think of myself as a coach.
You have to own it.
You have to own it. You're like, I am a coach. Am I going to make mistakes? Sure. It's just like anything where, look at it as an experiment of life.
And in this world, you're not everybody's going to like you or think of you as,
No. Exactly.
And even your heroes, there's a lot of them who, in their own right, have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And they're like supposed to be thought leaders, and they're still questioning themselves. So I don't know if you maybe ever get to a point where you're like, I saw something the other day is about, like, truly, like, dumb people don't know they're dumb. Like, you have to be aware enough of knowing, like, I'm smart enough to know what I know, but I'm also smart enough to know that there's things I don't know.
And I can learn.
Yeah. And so I think that feeds a little the imposter syndrome, because you're always aware that there's things you don't know. But that's actually, I think, good, because you don't think you know it all, because you probably don't know it all. And knowing you don't know it all is more beneficial than being so confident that I know it. I'm perfect.
Well, and that goes
you probably
back.
Don't then.
Think about it back to sales or customer service. For forever, it's always been. I've always had this motto: working with a customer or a client. You know what? I don't know that, but I can find out. Let me get back with you.
Right.
I think that mentality has served me very well. Also, in with being a coach, it's like, oh, we're talking about this. You know what? I need to look into this a little bit more. What can I bring? What in my past can I bring and give an example of, this is what I've done? Maybe this would work for you. Or this particular tactic or tool, like just saying, like a brain dump. Get everything out of your head. Get it all out. Because if you keep it in your head, you're going to keep that circulating.
Yeah.
You're ruminating. Yeah. And so when you write it down, you get it out. And sometimes just writing it down, you're like, oh, I feel better.
Sometimes you write it down, you realize, oh, there wasn't as much in my head as I thought. Like, I'll do that. I'm like, oh, I need to get a list started. And I'll start a list. I'm like,
oh, this isn't as overwhelming.
No, when you put it down, you're like, oh.
It's not back to the overwhelming. This isn't as overwhelming as I thought. And so, let me see, I just wanted to read. And so also just constantly having that you are in the act of becoming what you want to be.
Right.
You know what? I might not, I am a coach. Am I where I want to be? Well, no, but I'm going to constantly learn and improve and I'm going to be there and saying, I'm looking forward to the person ahead of me and asking them for help. So getting a mentor. Yeah. And then because I'm now 2 years into this coaching, I've got people who are asking me questions now. It's like, you're asking me? Oh, well, you know what? I have done that.
Well, sometimes just stopping and looking back to like, oh, you know what? I actually have come a long way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can look at that with drinking, relationships, anything.
Some things are a little harder to look back on than others, but yeah.
Exactly. But we're always moving forward. We're always improving. So then T is
This is
for
my favorite because I'm not terribly awesome at this.
management. And I will tell everyone, this is a huge struggle for me as well. But if you're wanting to, you've got to take time to create your plan. And for me, what I want to do is I just want to jump in. I don't really want to take the time to figure things out.
I'm not really good at that, like that. The planning, it was the they're always like, well, anytime I hear a project and they say preparation is key, I'm like, I'm screwed because
it's hard. It's hard because my brain will sit there and go, oh, I don't have time to do this. And it's like, but if I don't turn that thought process around and say, you know what, I need to take the time to plan things out, to plan learning in, that not doing that is creating that overwhelm as
some
well.
of it is planned distractions, so you don't allow the distraction keep being a distraction.
Exactly. And one of the things that I've learned, I think you have learned too, is that how much time we're actually spending on a device. I'm picking up my phone right now, or a TV, or a screen. And when they figure this up, I've got actually more information on this. But basically, they're saying that each person spends about 4 hours each day distracted, either watching TV or scrolling on a phone.
Right.
And 4 hours. What can you do with 4 hours?
Well, I would say if you're doing that every day, but like as an example, yesterday afternoon, we watched that one show, then watched a movie, and it's fairly rare for me to just sit there and like watch TV for 3 or 4 hours. But it was nice, like, oh, nobody's asking me to do anything. But if I did that every day,
but
that's not
the
scheduling
average
that.
is Americans
Right.
are spending 4 hours every
Right.
day. Being conscious of this and saying, what can I do? I mean, we were spending at least 3 hours probably every evening, maybe 4 hours sitting and drinking
at least 3, yeah.
and watching TV and that. And once I removed that, then it was like, oh, well, what can I do? I'm sitting here. I feel bored. What can I do?
So now doing that feels weird because like, oh, I don't usually do this.
Yeah. So being able to, and if you could get, that's multiply that out, 7 days.
Bring your calculator, kids. to the
You've
Alcohol
got
Free Podcast.
that's an almost a day. Maybe it's like around a day,
It's a lot.
and then you multiply that out for a month, and then a year, and then you are losing time to something that is not productive at all.
Right.
Now, and I'm not saying that you have to give up. It's fine to scroll a little bit, but any of us know that our devices are made and are designed to keep us in them.
Well, that's where the time management comes in, right? Like,
Yep.
I'm going to plan.
So plan.
Like,
Yep.
okay, this is my 30 minutes while I eat lunch, or what? I'm making this up, but while I eat lunch, and this is when I will scroll TikTok or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. That's my time. I allow myself that time. I don't feel guilty about that time, but it also allows me not to let that time become 3 hours of time in the
Yes.
evening when, even if there's not a huge project you need to do, there's probably more productive things you can do with your time. Play a game.
Well, here's
or
the thing.
Clean a bathroom. Or
Maybe you're saying, oh, I can't get this done. I'm in my house. I need to organize a closet, or I need to organize something, but yet I'm sitting on my phone for 4 hours
Well, it's
or
like this
every
floor.
evening. Well, maybe if I plan that out and I said, you know what, tonight I'm going to do the following.
Right.
I'm, just using the floor example again.
That was a Friday night. We weren't going to do it till Saturday, but we were sitting there. I'm like, hey,
But even before that, you were planning out. We were figuring it out. Okay, we bought we bought the materials. We researched how much materials we needed. We bought those, and then just going through that process. How do I put this together? And
But,
working
yeah.
through it.
But we had planned to start on that Saturday, but that Friday night, I'm like, well, we're sitting here doing nothing. Don't think I have to go upstairs. Like, I can't start if I'm not going to finish.
Yes, that's another thing. Yeah, I do that to myself too.
Like, when
I'm
am I
not
going to
gonna
get done? Then why am I going to? Well,
Yeah.
you could get half. And then that example, like, I think we got it done or most done and didn't even plan it. Just kept working until we were done working. And it's like, oh, well, that was way better use of my time. And now I'm that much farther ahead tomorrow. Whereas I could have sat downstairs and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then been more stressed on the weekend
Right.
when you want to start. So I'm just going to, here's some questions. And I would encourage you to journal on these if you were, if you want to journal. And when I say journal, you don't have to sit there and journal like
Dear
in paper.
journal.
You can sit there and do it in your notes section or do an audio journal, do something like that. But one of the things is when the questions is what you ask yourself, is what I'm doing, is it important? And is it impactful? So you're looking at your day. Is this important or impactful for the goals that I have for myself? Ask yourself that.
does it lead to
look
that
at the
end?
Post-its that I have around the house. Right here. If you're looking, here's a Post-it. What does this Post-it say?
I don't. What does it say? It says, "Who do I wish to become, and does this help me achieve this goal?"
Put a Post-it up, people.
I know. There it is.
There, if you look at the
Sorry,
Post-its,
your Post-it. One of her Post-its in one of the bathrooms. I'm like, sorry, it fell in the sink, got wet. I threw it away. I didn't try and save it.
I need to redo that one. Anyways, and then the next thing is look at your goals every day. Keep them in front of you and as a reminder, not as something to overwhelm you, but as a reminder. Oh, this is what I might not be able to work on this today, but this is something that I want.
And things on lists are fun to check off too. So
I do love checking off
I will
a
write
list.
things on a list just so I can check them off, so I feel like I did that.
I do that too. What are you constantly, like when you're like, this is the things that I will ask myself, what am I working on right now? And is it moving me forward? And also looking at it that, you know what, instead of, I don't have time, you have time.
Right.
Turn that around. I do have time. Maybe I don't have time in this moment, but I do have time. I can find an hour or two to make this happen.
Right. Right.
And then, we often get stuck, but we have to constantly ask ourselves as we're going through and we're checking things off and we're moving forward, what's the next thing I want? What's the next level? I mean, I don't want to just be at this point in my life. I want to continuously be improving and being of service to other people.
Don't just be status quo all day, every day for the same.
And always looking also, another thing you can do, especially when you start to feel down and if you're feeling overwhelmed, what can I do to help someone else? What can I do to help someone else? What can I do right now if I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm kind of like out of sorts and things aren't working the way I want? Okay, well, what can I do to help somebody else? Because usually that will make me feel better and that helps get me out of this pit as well. So constantly looking at that. So
Put your own pit into perspective.
yeah. So just pit again is have a plan, look at that identity and you need to buy into it. You have to, do the buy-in. And then finally, the time management, doing the things, asking the questions that are moving you forward to get you out of this pit of overwhelm and fear. How does that sound?
Well, I think that sounds like my time management tells me we're out of time, and I'm climbing out of the pit of the podcast. That's not a good way to promote your podcast, is it? Welcome to the pit of a podcast.
Maybe that is a name of the pit of the podcast podcast.
The podcast pit. There you go.
We want to get you out. We're gonna plan. We're gonna look at your identity and time management.
Identify as a podcaster. All right, children. Well, we hope you enjoyed the sleep tips from Coach Amy, her pro tips, and her pro pit tips. Don't forget to check out Ken Middleton's Bamboozled book. It's an awesome book.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the audiobook, as we talked about, but maybe I can read it for him as an audiobook. Then I'll read the book and record it.
There you go.
I don't think anybody wants to hear that.
And also, if you didn't do it yet, like,